Okay, welcome everybody to the Sunday night chart chat. Welcome to all our penny stock billionaires. We got a lot of exciting things happening in the markets this week. I'm going to actually start off with Tesla. We're going to be taking a look at Tesla. Why Tesla? Because, we've been talking about this for the last, 6 months now, or actually 7 since November. So we're already in May. And Tesla, it was kind of a bellwether for the speculative sector. And, as you can see from this chart, since February, really, really lost a lot of steam. Like a lot of our stocks lost a lot of steam, and they've been making a comeback, and some are actually making new highs. In fact, some of our stocks are outperforming Tesla in terms of I guess the market performance since February. But again, where Tesla goes, that Tesla represents the zeitgeist of the market, the real sentiment of the animal spirits. And Tesla right now, Friday was a very interesting day for Tesla. Take a look at this. We had this looks again like one of these key upside reversal days, and it closed above the 50-day moving average. We had a fake out like that before, back April 13th. But this one, I believe, is real. Why is it real? Because look at this. Not only did it break out of there, but it's also bouncing off of this key support you have in this 670 range. It's almost like a head and shoulders bottom you had it happening over here. I can go into all that nonsense, but where is Tesla going to go? I believe we're going to see, okay, so the breakout was kind of in that, let's just say 400 range. So we could probably see, $1,200, $1,500 on the stock in the next few months. So I think the speculative, the risk on is going to be back starting this month. I think we're going to have a very hot summer. And after that, the wheels are going to fall off the bus and probably the market will crash. I mean, there's a lot of people there's a lot of optimism coming in right now, with the reopening, all that stuff. In theory, you're going to have this economic boom, but, the market is forward looking. So I think it's, that's where we had this massive bull market starting last March. The market is forward looking. You have a lot of people, there's a lot of speculation going on. Headline in the Wall Street Journal today was, or this weekend, was Americans more invested in stocks than ever. Margin debt is crazy. I mean, the stuff you're hearing now is people are really, they think the stocks are just a free gift. The stocks always go up, and that's what it is. So I think we're going to have a very hot summer. I think we're going to see a lot of massive moves, in our universe of next super stocks. I think we're going to see some explosive moves. But just keep in mind, I think I talked about this back in November. I said, hey, or in December, I said, I think in January the market's going to correct. There's too much craziness going on, and sure enough, it took a little bit longer. It took exactly 30 days longer than I was expecting. So I think the real probably crash. Again, I don't want to be one of these crash people, but it's probably going to be the fall. I mean, the market, I believe, is going to go crazy over the summer. So this is the time to really, kind of maybe, I don't want to say double down, go all in, but this is the time to be making money the next couple of months, and make sure to protect your profits. Protect your profits as these things start exploding, because listen, when these stocks start going up to 10x, pull out your principal, maybe take half your profit. Let's say a stock like, I don't know, TBP or Victory Square now is heating up, or we got SHG. when these things like just go ballistic, parabolic, it's a good time to pull out some of your principal. I don't think that's the point on those two stocks yet. I don't think we're at that point yet. I think those are about to just go crazy. So maybe if TBP goes to, I don't know, $2, you might want to pull out some of your principal. So but I think we're just getting started. Okay, so let's get into our favorite stocks. Which one should we start? I'm gonna cover about 7 stocks. I'm gonna cover the ones which I'm expecting to move this week. I think we're gonna see some big moves. So we'll cover those stocks. And the main thing that I kind of want to reinforce, if anybody who's kind of new to our program, definitely check out some of the videos where we talk about how to find these 10x to 100x stocks. What's our methodology? Take a look at also. We had a great interview with Calvin Ting. This is the kid who turned $2,000 into $1 million in a couple months with some of our stocks. Or actually, again, he turned it to 500,000 with our 2,000 into 500,000 with our stocks. He doubled it with something else, and now he's into TBP. But he's got a very, he's got a winning mindset when it comes to investing. Doesn't even relate to penny stocks. You could apply it to almost anything. But definitely, I would say check out that video. Check out our videos where we talk about the details. But I kind of want to talk about 3 key things that we look for in our stocks. I just want to revisit this so people, before anybody forgets, because these things are important. By the way, if you're just tuning in, make sure you press the like, subscribe button. You join the channel. You can become a member of the channel, and that lets you do the chat. That's $10 a month if you want to do that. Participate in the live chats and all that other good stuff. You can become a subscriber to the channel. That part is free. Also, if you want to get on our Telegram channel, I highly recommend that. Click the links in the video description below where you have access to our Discord channel, our Telegram channel, our Twitter, TikTok, and our Wall Street Reporter, of course. Okay, so let me just kind of revisit the things that make that. What does it take to be a 10x to 100x stock to become? What is it the methodology that we use to bring stocks onto our platform, especially the next super stock, which is a little bit more, sort of a higher level than our kind of discovery day platform. So that is 3 things. One is companies going after a big market opportunity. So we're looking for something which has, a real huge potential if the company hits it, right? If they hit it, it's going to be a multi-billion-dollar market potential, right? So, companies they have that blue sky upside. Number 2 is, we're looking for companies that are at an inflection point. The inflection point is so critical. So, I want those stocks which are, look, a lot of these companies, they're essentially public venture capital companies, right? So, they go through a development process. It's like any business. It's like any type of growth in the human, on planet Earth, right? There's a gestation period that grows, that's how it happens. So we want to get that company right at that inflection point, right where they're done with all the development, all the pain, all the figuring out the business model, R&D, all that nonsense, trying things out. We want to get to the point where they're about to hit revenues or there's something big is going to happen. For example, TBP is a good example of that, Tetra biopharma. So this is a company that's been around for years, right? And a lot of investors have been through this thing, through the ups and downs. The stock was, much, much higher. But right now, this is the great time with these biotech stocks. You kind of want to get in right where things are about to start clicking when, they're getting close to, the clinical trials, or we're going to get close to, FDA approvals, things like that, where, the possibilities come into focus. So what happens is once investors really see that the dream starts becoming real, that's when they can extrapolate valuation into the stock. So we want to be in the place, we want to buy stocks where the dream starts to become real. Early on, it was just a dream. Now the dream is becoming real, and followed up by multiple catalysts. That's the other thing we look for, which kind of also means news flow. So we want those catalysts, we want things which could have a massive impact on the stock. One of the things that we look for on our platform when we bring a company on is, they got to have, again, they're at that inflection point, right? That's that everybody said, sometimes we think they are and they tell us they are, and then they're not quite there yet. That happens, right? We're not perfect. But most of them actually do that. But how do you know if they're at that inflection point? News flow. It's the news flow is the key thing. When you see a company start cranking out news once a week, minimum 3 times a month, then something is happening. That means they're making progress. And why is the news flow important? Because when investors see that news flow, they extrapolate that progress to higher valuations. That creates momentum. It creates excitement in the market, and that's critical. So TBP, we're actually seeing very positive news flow. We're seeing that constant, they're ascending that ladder of progress. I think investors are starting to see, hey, the dream is going to become a reality. And if the dream becomes a reality, that reality could be a multi-billion dollar opportunity. Again, look at the market comps. This company is going after huge markets. And if they just get close, forget about even getting to, I'm not even talking about a year out when they actually, could get to revenues, but it could be at some point these companies, especially biotech that are pre-revenue, they hit that point where the smart money comes in. The serious biotech investors, drug investors, I mean, they buy into these stocks right in maybe a couple of months before that becomes that reality. And I think TBP is getting into that space. So again, news flow is critical. We've had, I'll be very candid. We've had a couple of stocks that we've introduced in the last, 4 or 5 months, that haven't performed. And what do they have in common? No news. Okay. So, they come on our platform, they tell us, hey, they're going to have all these great things coming. There's going to be they're at that inflection point. They have all those things, but then they kind of go dark. You don't see news, or you don't see material news for weeks or whatever it is. Now, some companies have a legitimate reason, because if they're doing a financing, it's hard for them to promote. For example, Logic has been in this kind of financing black hole. Peak has been the same thing. So until they get those deals done, they really can't pump out news. They can't promote the stocks, and they got a lot of stuff happening. I mean, you can see this news with Peak. I mean, those companies go. But we've had a couple of other stocks. I don't want to mention any names, but you guys know which some of them are. And listen, investors get frustrated when they don't see news. And we're actually, look, this is a learning process. And I think I kind of figure out a way to kind of screen out further. And we have a screening process for the companies, but we're going to screen them further. So we're going to actually have a carrot and a stick. I had an interesting call on Friday. So essentially, if new companies that we bring on in the future, if they don't have news, like if they don't deliver the news in that first 30 days, 6 weeks, if they're not putting out 5 releases a month, we're going to kick them off the platform. That's it. And you know what? We're going to keep the money. So, we get paid up front. So basically, they're going to be making a commitment. So they're going to be putting their money where their mouth is, because I'm not going to put up with companies going on the platform and then, they're going to tell us, hey, we got great things happening. And then they, just go dark for 2 months. So, sometimes there's a legitimate reason. Look, these are all great companies, but that's not what our platform is about. Our platform is about inflection point, action, momentum. So, my promise to you, everybody who's watching this, is when we bring a company onto our platform, They're at that point where they're ready to explode. The rocket is exploding from the volcano. So, but that's it. So let's talk about a couple of the stocks that are ready to go this week. Things which are about to go. Let's see here. Okay, let's get Tesla off here. They're not. Yeah, they don't qualify to be a 10 bagger. Okay, so which one should we look at first? I'm going to look at Skylight, SHG. Okay, so we have Skylight. Really impressive action on Friday. Stock probably could have gone a little bit higher, but I think this is so. Right now, they're waiting for this Nasdaq thing, and this could come any day. I think that is, we talk about catalysts, that is one of the big catalysts. For a lot of companies, they make a big deal. Oh, Nasdaq. For this company, it's going to make a big difference. Also for peak fintech, also a big difference because the fintech space, China fintech especially, very hot for Nasdaq. The healthcare, because Skylight is essentially all their businesses in the U.S. It's a U.S. healthcare company. It has nothing to do in Canada. So the company is really not well understood in the Canadian market. And when they go on Nasdaq, that is like a match made in heaven. I mean, then they're going to be considered like the bargain, the cheap stock when you compare it to their peers, like a One Health, One Medical, Oak Street Health, a couple of these other guys. There's a few that are going public. Those are multi-billion-dollar market caps, massive multiples. And Skylight is going to be in that peer group. It's going to be in that peer group on Nasdaq. What do you think that means? What that means is any institutional investor who's buying one of those stocks, they're going to see Skylight popping up on their radar screen as one of those peers, and they're going to say, "Wow, man, this company has massive growth. I love what they're doing. Let me check out the stock. Maybe I'll buy some stock." That's what happens. You basically, it's that conversation repeated 1,000 times with 1,000 different funds, and that results in a much higher stock price. So I told you about kind of the fundamentals, but technicals. This is what this is about. Is again, it broke out of this 50-day moving average here, which was key resistance level. You got kind of this double bottom happening here. So I think we're going to get to above $2 this week, maybe more. Let's see what happens. But Skylight is looking really good. Of course, we have Sean Black, who was on our program on Friday. He was invested in the stock, and I think at 15 cents, 8 cents, really, really cheap. And so again, he's holding on. So he's up, 20x. He thinks it's going to $10. I think it's going to at least $7. But let's just say 5 to 7 in the next. I would say by December. I believe Skylight is going to be between $5 and $7 by December. After that, who knows? But that's my intermediate target, and that is the what's happening over there. Okay, so what else is moving this week? We got some big news came out of Peak Fintech, released the results Friday night. Good results. Excuse me. Okay. And I think that could be the catalyst. They did 40 million revenues. They lost a little bit of money, not a big deal. Again, it's pretty common for these growth companies. I think they're probably going to they're going to switch to they're going to go into probably I think the goal is to get cash flow positive this year, and then the earnings will kick in. I mean, this is pretty typical for a lot of these high growth companies. I think my intermediate target on Peak is $455. I think it's going to break out of this range. It's been stuck in this range. We've been talking about this for 4 months. No, it's, since February. So we've been talking about this, 3 months now, and I think this is it. I think this is ready to go. Their financing, I think, is going to wrap up shortly, and the company is going to start being able to, talk about what's happening, put out news, and all that good stuff. So peak is looking real good. $455, my intermediate target. Again, it's a stock we introduced at 40 cents way back here, September. And by the way, it did drop after we introduced it. It dropped. It took about a month. It took about 2 months for it to get going. Probably dropped 30%, 25% after they debuted on the platform. So it's not unusual for that type of thing to happen. And some of the stocks that we introduce, when they kind of drop a little bit, a lot of those become some of our biggest winners, like Fans Unite. Cytodyne was up 2,000%. Fans was up. It's a 10-bagger. So yeah, I think it's a good sign, actually. Okay, so peak fintech. I think people are going to be very impressed by those numbers. 40 million. It's a massive increase over the last year, previous 2 years. I think people are going to start waking up to this, that this is a reality. And by the way, that's last year. This is, things, and that was a rough year. By the way, I don't know if you know, there was something, this is a company that's involved in China. I don't know if anybody's been paying attention. They had a little issue in China starting last November, this coronavirus going around. So their economy was shut down a little bit. And still this company had a massive increase in revenues. It's incredible. Imagine what they're going to do this year. It's going to be, I think it could be off the charts. So, so this week, Skylight, Peak. Let's take a look at another one, VST. We're gonna get these guys back on the live stream this week. They had some crazy numbers come out. Now those revenue, earning, I think a lot of it is from portfolio profits. It's not actual revenues or operating. It's more of like they had some big gains. Again, what is Victory Square? Victory Square is basically, we call it a unicorn farm. It's sort of like the ARK ETF, the Cathie Wood ETF, where they invest in disruptive companies like Tesla and all that stuff. The difference is ARK is going, they're going after mature companies already, companies that are public. Victory Square, VST, is sort of like they're at the early stage. They're like an early stage version of ARK. They're investing in the I hate that word, disruptive technologies, but that is what they're doing. They have 20 portfolio companies. They're starting to spin them out. Last year was Fans Unite, which has been a big winner. Fans Unite is one of their portfolio companies. Look at that's what turned out. It went from 20 cents to over $2. And I think it's gonna go a lot higher. It's had a pullback since February. I think we're gonna see a massive win in Fans. I think it's gonna be a $4 stock this year. And we'll take a look at that chart. But they're going to be spinning out. They got a couple companies. They got the Game On thing that they're going to be spinning out shortly. They got another one. So I think what's going to happen is, and again, that is another one of those catalysts. Again, massive upside potential, multiple catalysts. They have 20 portfolio companies. Half of them are probably going to be duds because, again, this is venture capital, right? But they only need three of them to work out. And it's going to have a massive, it could have, I shouldn't say, I'm not making any, it could have a massive impact on the stock because, they're going for moonshots, right? It's the venture capital model. Once they start spinning these things out, people are going to start paying attention. Let's see, let me just change up the banner here. Okay, if you're just tuning in, make sure to click the links in the video description below to join our Telegram channel, our Discord channel. And of course, you got wallstreetreporter.com with everything that's on it, all the news and everything. And press the like button, subscribe button, all that good stuff for YouTube. Oh man, I forgot to wear the hat. Shit. I forgot to wear the hat for the algorithm. Okay, I forgot to do that. I'll have to do that later. Okay, later this week. Somebody please remind me to wear the hat for this algorithm. Okay, so FCO. Yeah, let's talk about FCO. Again, company that's had, it fits all the criteria, but that's been a rough stock lately. Why? I don't know. Look, it's an exploration stock. I guess the market wasn't happy with the drill results, the recent ones, I don't know. Apparently, if it sold off, but it looks like it kind of it was making a turnaround. So I think the bottom could be in here. There is a lot more to go with this. They got a lot of stuff to go. They got the copper project also in BC. They got the silver. So, of course, the main focus is on the silver project right now, where they're drilling. And let's see how that turns out. This is part of the fun of the resource investing space. It is a roller coaster. It is a roller coaster. Anybody who buys those, anybody who's an investor in that space knows what they're getting into. Okay, so let me go to, okay, so you got Victory Square. Oh, I forgot to talk about the chart. I was talking about the fundamentals. This chart looks like it's going to explode. It's going to be like a volcano rocket. The volcano is rumbling. By the way, all our stocks, really think of it as like volcanoes, right? Some of the all volcanoes, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but from my understanding, all volcanoes essentially will erupt. Even if a volcano is dormant, it could erupt at any time. It's there for a reason, right? It's there to explode. So, and sometimes they're dormant, they're a little quiet. Sometimes you see the smoke coming out, little puffs of smoke, but they're not erupting. They're just like, giving people a little tease. And then they start, and some of them are spewing smoke ready to explode. So we have most of our stocks right now are, they're volcanoes that are they got smoke coming out. Some of them are exploding right now. So Victory Square is, this is a volcano that was some smoke was coming out. It was rumbling before. And I think now this week, we're going to see a massive explosion in Victory Square, especially with those fundamental, that news. That news is a blockbuster. Those numbers, crazy, off the charts. It's ridiculous. We got to get them on the live stream this week to talk about that. This thing could just go crazy. Look, this is a stock that's gone crazy before. It went from 14 cents to $1 in a day or something, right? This is a stock that could explode. It's done it before. Victory Square is ready to go this week. Would be nice if they all move together. It never happens that way. Sometimes it does. Rarely we have everything is clicking. But probably we have about 20 companies on the platform. At any given time, you're gonna have half a dozen of them. 6 of them are probably like going crazy. It really should be all of them. Really, it should be. I talked about this before, that news thing. So we're gonna fine tune this process over the next few months. So it's gonna be all moving at the same time. But yeah, some of them are a little quiet, and then they start moving. Again, here's the thing with these early stage companies, they're not going on a linear path. I think Bruce Linton, when he was on that interview with Tripp, he was talking about these companies are not going on a linear path. This is not like a utility, which the revenues increase, 5%, every year, like clockwork. No, these things go like a roller coaster. I mean, sometimes they have massive progress, then then it stops, then then it goes. It's like a normal business. It's like any business that's developing. So you're going to have those peaks and valleys as they move forward, and that's the point where sometimes that's where you get the opportunities, because most investors, they don't have the patience to go through these types of things. So yeah. So let me cover. Okay, so VST looking great this week. Let me catch up with a couple of our comments before we go into the other charts. Before we go into the main event, the stock that everybody wants to talk about. We're going to cover that in just a second. Let me just catch up here with the comments. We got Dwight, Todd, Bets. Okay, Bets. No, I haven't heard anything. I mean, from what I understand, at the end of this month is when they're going to get that shareholder vote to do the merger, or the big Indian betting company, and then this could be huge, but you got to be patient. Basically, it sucks. I mean, this is really, the whole thing has been crazy. I've never had a situation like that, but that's it. I think this month is going to be a tremendous month. I think it's going to be a tremendous month for a lot of our stocks. TBP and SHG. Yes, so SHG, definitely. TBP, I'm going to talk about. TBP is, again, TBP, this is perfect case in point. This is a company that's been constant development. I mean, for the last years. Just because people didn't hear about them for a while didn't mean that they weren't making progress. Now you're seeing that progress. That's why the stock is moving, and people are starting to realize it. They're going to be jumping on board that train, and momentum is going to go crazy. The FOMO. RHT and Relay, I think you're talking about. Yeah. I think you're right. I think yeah. It's interesting. So the stocks that we introduced in late February, March, that was a rough month. Those are rough 2 months. So those companies, it's the market just wasn't interested, I think, in anything. I mean, like, you need good soil. You need fertile soil for these stocks to grow. So when you have a market that it's at least neutral, the stocks can grow in that soil. But when you have hailstorms coming down and bad weather and all that stuff, nothing can grow in that. Right now, the soil, the weather in the markets is more conducive to crops growing. Crops in our case is stocks that'll be growing. Trip. Let me go to Trip. That is actually one of the stocks that is also ready for the volcano mode this week. Okay. I think what we're seeing here is kind of like a pennant ready to break out. I mean, Trip needs to close above 35 cents. I would say 37 cents here, and that'll be I think that could be the bat signal saying that this thing is ready to start climbing. Psychedelics are in the news right now. I mean, the psychedelic sector is going to heat up, and I think what it does. Here's the thing: Trip, they got a lot of cash. I think they're looking at some interesting acquisitions. We're going to see some things happening here. Also, forget about the acquisitions. I mean, their existing business is growing. They got a lot of things happening. Take a look at the video on YouTube we had with Bruce Litton, with Todd Shapiro, the CEO. We got Sarah, the chief technology officer there. They got a whole tech angle that's incredible. It's a very unique. So again, we introduced Trip, what is that, 17 cents. It went to 70 cents in 2 months. So from 17 to 70, it's about 4x roughly. So it's a four bagger. I think it's at least a 10 bagger. So I think it's at least a $1.50, $2 stock. So here we could be getting ready for phase two. This is the second wave. So what we saw was the first wave from December to February. That was wave number one. Now you had a consolidation, a correction, profit taking, markets, all that stuff. And here you go. So Trip is, and this week, I think this thing is going to start moving. So let's take a look at, so that's the daily chart. Let's take a look at the 1 hour chart. Yeah, so here you see this pennant forming, and it's above the 50 period moving average. This is the 1 hour chart, so it's a little bit of a more close up, zoomed in. This thing is, it's like, this thing is like ready to go. I mean, it's looking for an excuse to go higher. Let's see what is going to be the catalyst that's going to send it higher. But yeah, this is a stock that just wants to go higher. You could just see from this chart right now. Yeah, I think the SHG, Tesla, some of these, there are some similarities there, except our stocks have a lot more torque in them. So, I mean, Tesla, yeah, it could go from 700 to 1400, so it's a double. Whereas these stocks can go up 5x during that period, or even 10x. Yeah, this I agree. Yeah, so Trip SA Happy. The Happy is another one of these stocks which has all the great things happening. I don't know why the thing has been stuck in a rut. I don't know why. But that's what happens. I think we're at the bottom. I don't think it's going to go any lower. I mean, meaning a couple pennies, but that's pretty much it. And then it's got to get a little bit of traction. Maybe start showing some revenues. They have revenues, but they got to show some big numbers coming in, some growth, and then people will become believers. Okay, TBP, that is going to be the highlight here. Yeah, there's a lot of very smart people who understand the resource sector, who understand mining, who are invested in FCO. The CEO has a tremendous track record. So you got a CEO with a massive track record in the space. You got the right projects. You have everything going for it. We got to find out if the silver is there in big quantities. Really, that's what people want. Yeah, I don't think Skylight is going to be dipping anymore. I think we're pretty much, it's pretty much, these things are, that's it. I mean, that's it. It's going higher. So, okay. So there's a lot of people who are thinking exactly like this in a lot of these stocks. They're saying, "Oh, is it gonna pull back? Is it gonna pull back?" Sometimes these things never pull back. They just, I mean, look. I mean, people were saying that about Apple, about Amazon years ago. They've been waiting for the pullback. Yeah, it never came. Or when it did come, it wasn't as big as they were expecting. And then, the stocks ended up going up 1,000%, 100x, whatever. The market doesn't understand that. We got to get Peter on this week. Yes. Oh, that is, yeah, that's the other thing. Thank you. I forgot I forgot to point out. That's the big thing when we're talking about our kind of investing philosophy. We talk about, what do we need for a company to be featured here? Big market opportunity, multiple catalysts, inflection point, and asymmetric upside potential. So it's got to be an asymmetric opportunity. So it's got to be something where, you're putting in 10 cents, 20 cents. So your risk is 10 cents, but your upside could be $5. That's what we're looking for. So we're not looking to make 25%, 50%, a double. I don't want stocks that are doubles or even triples. That's like, it's not worth it. I mean, if you're just looking to double your money with these type of stocks, that's the wrong attitude. You got to be looking for 10 baggers minimum. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for 10 baggers, because when you have essentially we're doing public venture capital. This is all public venture capital, right? High risk, high reward. VCs don't invest to make a double or a triple. I mean, they're swinging. They want 10x, 100x, because one of those things is going to pay for everything else. That's how they get the return. So these are asymmetric upsides. FCO, if they hit it, you're risking what? You're risking 15 cents, and your upside could be I don't know, $2. TBP. So I'm going to lead right into TBP. TBP, asymmetric. Speaking of asymmetrical potential, TBP, Moon, Saturn. Let's take a look at the chart on TBP. I'm going to show the I'm going to show the Canadian chart. The US is TBPMF. And here we are. This is the 1 hour chart. Let me go to the daily. The 1 hours are really impressive, but the dailies. Okay. So TBPMF. Okay. Again, it's got all those things going for it. Big market opportunity, inflection point, multiple catalysts, and the best part, asymmetric. It's an asymmetric bet. And it is a bet. I mean, this is luck. At the end of the day, all these things are gambling. Okay, this is not don't buy these stocks if you're looking to I don't know, pay your electric bill or whatever. Don't. This is not for you. These are stocks. These are high risk stocks. These are not utility stocks. They're not bank stocks. These are high risk stocks. But that being said, the downside, I believe the downside in a stock like TBP. It's really never been below 15 cents all this time, forever, right? I mean, go back previously. It's never really been below 15 cents. I would say 15 cents is kind of the bottom in that stock. So we introduced this at 17 cents, I believe. It debuted on our platform back in, when was this? Back in here, right? Was this here? No. Sorry, no. March. Debuted on a platform in March. Spent about had a nice little pop. Had a little interest, and then people kind of like, it sold off. And all of a sudden, then they realize, oh, wait a minute, this could be something good. And I think, listen, I got to tell you, one of the catalysts, one of the things that happened recently is all of a sudden, people are starting to understand the story. I think it really helped when we had Sean explain, he's an investor. He owns, I think he owns 10 million shares, if I'm not mistaken. He owns north of 5 million shares. He's a major investor, very, very smart investor, super successful track record. He's also an operations guy. Look, this is not just an investor. This is a guy who's run very difficult businesses like the restaurant business and had massive success in that business. So anybody that could do that is a great investor. So again, he's been in Skylight since, I don't know, 8 or 15 cents. So he's up, big time of that. He's had a bunch of other winners. And he really explained that story in a way that people could understand. And, he believes that this thing is going to $20. He thinks north. I said, could it go to 20? Because if they get the same comps as their peers, it could be a $20 stock, right? If you divide 6 billion, which is what GW Pharma was bought, you divide $6 billion by 300 million shares, which is what they have. You got $20, roughly, more or less, right? So again, the great thing, what I love about the biotech space, this whole healthcare drug development space, is you get that blue sky potential. If a company's going after a major, a major drug, something with a major market, and these guys are going after multiple markets. They're going after the pain market, sepsis. I mean, they're going after huge markets. This is I think $200 billion. I mean, that might be a little bit crazy, but it's in the tens and tens of billions is the upside, the market opportunity for those drugs if they can get them on the market. So when if this thing hits, it's going to be immediate. It's not going to be like something which is going to take 20 years. I mean, this could happen within 12 months that this stock goes to $20. And we've had it before. Look, Cytodyne. Cytodyne is a stock we introduced at 50 cents. That was our last, which is very auspicious. We've only had one biotech stock in the last 18 months on our platform. They're hard to understand for a lot of people. I don't understand them myself that well. I kind of get the basic concept. I look at these as concept type stocks. So Cytodyne went from 50 cents to $10. It was a 20 bagger in a year. And a lot of that gain happened within about 4 months. I think we're going to see something very similar happen with TBP, where, again, just like Cytodyne, once it started moving, it really exploded. This thing is, before I get into the numbers, I mean, once this thing goes, it could just take off. I mean, because in the biotech space, it's kind of it's almost a binary bet. Okay, either it's a $20 stock or it's a 15-cent stock. There's not a lot of middle ground, or maybe let's say $10. But there's no middle ground. It's either a 15-cent stock or a $10 stock. I like those odds. I mean, that's an asymmetrical bet, right? Would you risk 15 cents to make, let's just say $10? What is that? That's 50x plus. That's a good, I mean, because especially when you have a pretty decent chance of something in that range happening. Why is that a good bet? Because if you do that, if you make enough of those bets, you make 10 of those bets, a couple of them are going to pay off, and you're going to be up big time. Asymmetrical, yes. I'm happy. I told you it's being sent. I had customs issues in Canada. Canada wanted to know what was in the box. They sent it back. I got to go through the whole process. I was at I got U.S. postal problems, but it will go out this week. I'm gonna send it out tomorrow. That's it. I promise you, I'm sending it out tomorrow. I'm gonna go to the post office. I got to deal with the post office. I'm gonna stand online there with a mask indoors to get this thing out to you. All right, we're gonna get it out. So we're gonna have the and I want to know. I want to get a review once you get it. I want to get a review, but I apologize. It's been delayed. Okay, so yeah, there's gonna be people buying Lambos, Ferraris, 200-foot yachts, moon rockets, countries, small countries, large countries. No, it's going to be huge. If it hits, or it could be, maybe not. Maybe it'll go back to 15 cents. Possible. But I think, the odds are pretty good. It's going to go, multi times where it is right now. So yeah, people are starting to wake up to this. That's what's happening. People are starting to wake up to TBP. They weren't aware of it. So the sentiment is bullish. It's exactly, okay, not 100%. It's 90%. It's within exactly pretty much what happened with Cytodyne. I think most people watching this were not in the Cytodyne play last year or 18 months ago when we introduced it. But yeah, it went, yeah, take a look at the chart. It went from 50 cents. And some of our early videos are up there, so you can kind of follow along as the thing happened. And people made a lot of money, okay, so let's go into, okay, what's happening with this thing? Okay, so what you saw happen, something very, very important. Here is something critical that you have to realize. This stock has been making the big moves on big volume. This is like a record volume, right? So we're seeing record volume. This means there's the sentiment, the money's pouring in. There's investors coming into it, and there's big buys. So you have smart money buying. This is not just, retail guys buying, $100 worth of stock, $20 worth of stock. No, this is guys buying, 500 grand worth of stock at a clip, right? That is, that's big time, right? And this stock, the 20-cent range, that was a very difficult thing for the stock to break out of. Also very similar to CBDT. Anybody who was in the CBDT story in the last couple of months, I mean, you saw this movie. The stock started at, we introduced it at a nickel Canadian, 5 cents. That's like nothing. It's like 3 cents US. And it took a while for it to break out of 10 cents. And I think when it broke out of 10 cents, I think I put out a thing on our Twitter saying, 10-cent stocks have become 25-cent stocks, and 25 cents become 50. And that's what happened. So same thing with TBP. Once it broke the 20 cents, then it becomes a 50-cent stock. It's very easy. The 20 cents, that first 20 cents, it's like, making your first million is the hardest. After that, whatever. So getting past that 20 cents, very, very difficult. It broke out of that, and then it broke out of 35 cents, and that was the previous high for quite a while, going back almost a year. So, and it's doing it on big volume. It's a surge. Basically, this is a massive wave. You're riding a massive wave here. This is not like little baby waves. So this is like one of these massive waves, that happen in the Pacific, where these guys go out and they're riding these, 200-foot waves or 500-foot waves. I don't know, maybe it's in California. Where is it? Somewhere they're doing it, where the waves are massive waves. It's what is that movie like? Point Break. Anybody watch that movie, Point Break? Great movie from the 80s. Point Break, where these guys, they rob banks to go surfing in these crazy waves. Which are like once in a lifetime type waves. This is what you're seeing right here. You should be, if you're watching this, you guys should be, anybody watching, you should be, robbing banks, getting that money, putting into the stock, and riding this massive wave. Because this could be a huge wave, a mega wave, 100x wave. We're just getting started here. By the way, I'm not, none of this is advice. I'm not giving recommendations to buy sell securities. I'm not advising that you rob banks or any of that stuff. This is, a poetic license here. Let me run that disclaimer again at the bottom, just in case anybody's not paying attention here. Everybody thinks this is all just, easy, free money. It's not. These stocks are very risky. You could lose all your money. But the thing broke out of 40 cents. Friday was an incredible day. This thing was, and by the way, if you're watching our Telegram, we talked about this thing go to 42 cents. It went to, was it 45, I think, right? 44 and a half. So then, a little bit of a pullback, but very small pullback. So it's actually a very healthy pullback on Friday. This week, I believe this thing is gonna go into full volcano mode. Could be, it might consolidate a little bit, but ultimately, I think right now, what happened on Friday, the market understands that this thing is basically heading to $1 for starters. That's like the first wave. Just like CBDT. I mean, for CBDT, the 30-cent range, a lot of people didn't believe it. The 30-cent, 40-cent range, a lot of people didn't believe it. And then it broke 50 cents and then went parabolic. I think the difference is here when when this thing goes parabolic, it's going to go parabolic like big numbers. This is like, this could go, crazy parabolic. I think it's an easy 250 in the next couple of months. I know it sounds crazy. Nobody believed that about a lot of the stocks that we've had. Listen, nobody believed in, we've had 7 stocks that are up between 1,000 and 5,000% in the last 18 months, right? And then we have probably 20 stocks that are up, 100 to 500, 700%, stuff like that, small numbers. But all the stocks that are up, 1,000% the 10 baggers, nobody believed that they would go there until they did. So TVP looking like it's going to break out this week. Let me go to the 1-hour chart. This is amazing. What is happening here? You have a pennant. And it's breaking out. Friday, that it broke out of that 40-cent, that 40-cent ceiling. That's it. This thing wants to go to, let me tell you something, when it breaks. So the next stop on this train, I have to get some water here. This is, okay, so the next stop on the train is going to be 60 cents, 70 cents. I think that's where it's gonna hit next. Probably 75 cents. I think we're gonna see 75 cents in the next 10 days. 10 days, this is gonna be a double. So I think this thing is ready to double. Yeah, it's great. And it's doing it in a big volume. Okay, so Friday's action was, it closed here at 40 cents. It really wants to go out. Let me look at the 5-minute chart. Does this tell us anything? No. Okay, so yeah, you basically had a sell-off at the end. I guess people didn't want to go long in the weekend or whatever. That's Friday profit taking, which is fine. But yeah, I think Monday we might open a little bit lower, maybe even. Why not? Might open like 40 cents, 39 cents, just to shake some people out, just to shake out all the weak hands, and then it goes just ballistic. It'll just go crazy. And we're probably gonna have some news, right? I think that's the news is gonna move it. Yeah, end of the month. Why didn't I think of that? 45. You think it's going to open 45 cents at the? I don't know. I have a feeling it's going to open a little bit lower, just to shake some people out, and then it just rockets, and then all the FOMO is going to kick in. Okay, so let Let me see here. Oh, this is where the big wave was. This is where the big mega wave, where the Point Break guys went to. Okay, so yeah, I think this the TBP is that one of those mega waves. It goes like, there we go. It's going to be like a 10,000-foot wave tsunami, and this is not for everybody. It's not for everybody to be riding those waves. I mean, because they're dangerous. I mean, there's guys who imagine it's a 100-foot wave. You fall off. I mean, you basically can break your neck, right? I mean, it's So or it comes down and crashing on top. So yeah, but I have a feeling this is going to be a big wave. Oh, and also, most importantly, this is the crazy thing. We got the Calvin Ting buy indicator. I mean, Calvin Ting, again, check out the video. This guy has incredible, like, sixth sense. He's like a Rain Man when it comes to these stocks. I mean, in terms of, he's had some crazy parlays, and he bought TBP last week, 18 cents. I mean, it's amazing. He's been a great indicator. Okay, so I'm going to do the genie in the bottle. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to do just two stocks. I'm just going to cover two stocks. I'll do the rest later in the week. ESC and fans, I give those honorable mentions because those are basically volcanoes that right now they are like, they're kind of slightly rumbling, just a little smoke, little puffs of smoke, but they're not exploding yet. But they could. So they could wake up any moment. Let me show you this chart. Yeah, so this is a little bit very similar to kind of like a trip, just with not as much momentum. It's been a little bit quiet. I think the market is waiting to see if they can actually deliver on those acquisitions I talked about. They got a great new director they added. I mean, this is big time guy. So, they got cash. They closed this huge deal. So this is going to be one to watch. Again, this chart a little bit like Trip. So watch this thing here. Let me go to fans. Again, fans. So we introduced this at 20 cents. Went to 25. So it's a 10 bagger. Big pullback. You had a 65, 70% correction of the gain. Not unusual. So it's in a defensive mode right now, but it's been building a base. I think it's gonna take a little while for this thing to gain the mojo. It could have happened any day. We might see something all of a sudden it pops, but this is gonna be one of the big volcanoes. I think we're gonna be 450 plus before the year is out. 450 plus, the year is out. Delic, Delic is looking good. Okay, so Relay, RHT, I'm going to talk about those tomorrow. Those stocks are still in a defense mode. They're still in defense, a little bit like fans. I think fans is a little more advanced because it's had a bigger base. Yes, so the stocks that basically debuted, I would say, let's call it the class of February. Those stocks, most of them have had a rough start. So it's going to take them a while to get going. And that's the other one, Calvin's and GBLC. I'll be talking about those tomorrow. To wrap up, let me just go back to TBP, our focus today. I'll even pull up the US chart. Yeah, the US chart's looking great. I mean, this thing is just like a rocket taking off here. look how high this can go. I mean, a $1.25 is really kind of a near term. I think we'll be at a $1.25. Yeah. In about a month and a half, 2 months. next few months will be at $1.25. 75 cents is going to be the next level. That said, thank you, everybody. We'll see you in the next live stream. Probably Tuesday. We get some exciting things happening.